Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Quilt and Coffee Chat Live on Fridays with Build a Quilt. I'm Diana. So glad to have you all with me. Sorry, we're just a couple minutes beyond 11. I had somebody that needed something from me, and so I had to take care of that, and I was hurrying. So thank you so much for joining me today. Quilt and Coffee Chat Live here is our basically every other Friday, twice a month. We get together and we just chat about quilting things. So please do not be shy about asking questions or commenting. And remember, we're always very considerate of others here. We don't judge. So if you have a question or a comment, please make sure that we're doing what our kindergarten teacher told us to do and being nice about it. That's all we ask. But we love hearing from you all. And I see we already have Sue has checked in, our good friend from Indiana. Hi, Sue. So glad to have you with us today. And if you're brand new, Build a Quilt is all about traditional patchwork. So a quilt top, batting and backing, done with your embroidery machine, and a little bit of wash away stabilizer. So when you create a Build a Quilt block, I'll just show you this simple 4-patch. We're doing the easiest quilt ever. So if you're brand new, this is a great quilt along for you to be involved in. When you make this, your wash away stabilizer washes out and you have no stabilizer left in it. You create your quilt top basically with the help of your embroidery machine to get all that precision that drives everybody crazy in all other forms of quilting, and get that quilt done and put together nicely. I am the creator of the Build a Quilt system. So if you have any questions while you're on here, please feel free to ask because we'd love to hear from you. And like I said, Friday Quilt and Coffee Chat Live is a little bit of a review from our Wednesday night show, Wednesday workshop, just a little bit, like very briefly. And then just some chatting. If we have time today, I have a little video to show you because I've been getting some questions. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about doing fussy cut blocks, and I showed you all how you can do that and how the diamond in a square block segment is perfect for making it. So this is a regular diamond in a square. That's what it looks like if you fussy cut. So I have a little video to show you how that works. If we have time today, we'll take a look at that as well, and that might help. Now, that video is also available here on the YouTube site, so you can just look that up and you'll find it, but I thought it might be fun to show it to you. So please introduce yourself. Let us know you're here and where you're from. We'd love to say hello to you. And I'm going to start out just by showing real quick. Now, Wednesday, you all know it was a crazy weather day here. We had tornadoes, a dirt rain, literally raining dirt. And within that 24 hours, we also had a blizzard and snow. Pretty cool. So it messed up. We did get to go live and we got pretty much all the way through it. And right after that, there was another tornado warning. We had about 6 of them in our area. And so the feed for that, the video was not viewable when I went to look at it before I put it up for long-term viewing. It wasn't viewable. It was, you guys said occasionally it was skipping out. It was even worse than either I thought or you thought. It was just not viewable. My voice and all was off. So I decided just to kind of deep six that one. And yesterday I did a recap of that night. So all the main points that we talked about Wednesday, and you can catch that in the video section here. It's like there's 3 new videos out there. There's one on cutting your own fat quarters, which we love using fat quarters with the Build a Quilt system. It's a really manageable size fabric. It's really easy to figure out that little bit of quilt math when you have to and how much you need, because we have a sheet that's out on the website. We used to have it and it was just called our fabric quantity sheet, which it still is, but it gave you how many of the Build a Quilt segment pieces you could get out of a 42-inch or 45-inch piece of 1 yard fabric. However, I've really decided that that fat quarter is the most useful fabric size to use. And so we have added, we've added a fat quarter chart on there. And so when you go to the website, this is a free download. It says updated to include fat quarters. And so you'll know if you have the old one, you can download the new one. If you're a Quilt Lab subscriber, it is also in the Quilt Lab members area for you just to go to there while you're doing your other member stuff and download it there, or you can download it from the regular shopping area as well. But it is a free download for everyone. Now, I apologize if the light is just a little bit softer than normal. Although it is a sunny, cool day outside, it's warmer in the house because I have seedlings started now for the garden. And this room is always 5 to 7 degrees warmer than the rest of the house. So I feel like right now I'm sitting in a 75-degree room, which is entirely too warm when you're filming with lights and all. So I have some lights on. But I left the big ones off today. I hope that's okay with everybody. Everybody can see me, right? If you want to see me, I don't know. So we're going to talk about the diamond in a square in a little bit. I'll share with you what we're doing for our monthly mini quilt. And then I did a little bit of a fabric haul, and I thought I'd share that with you because Friday is a very kind of loose chat, just quilting friends getting together to chat. That's why I highly recommend you pop in your questions, comment on things, anything like that at all, because this is our totally cash kind of quilting event that we do live. So last week, our color cube cards, if you want to know about that, you can catch the color cube videos and check out the recap. I talk more about the color cubes there. But last week, this was one of our cards we called the Coral Reef. So this was the block I made with that. I chose 4 of the colors and added, even this print had a few extra colors in it. It all went well. I thought that one turned out really well. I talk about them more, the different fabrics, in that recap video as well. And then we had this card that we called Golden Roses. I thought that was just beautiful, but let's just be honest here, I was a little worried that I would not like this block when it turned out. These colors are not normally in my wheelhouse where I go to color-wise. And so I wasn't sure about it. And that's one of the reasons we're using these Sarah Renee Clark color cubes this year, to get us out of the rut and to help us put colors together, because that is the number one question I get asked by people who are new to quilting, and even some quilters that have been quilting for a long time. They'll only make a quilt if they're given exact fabrics to use from a designer collection, because they're afraid of choosing their own colors. But what I noticed when I got my color cubes a couple years ago, they're perfect for quilters because they give you a beautiful picture to show you how the colors go together. And then they show you all the colors, and then they give you a light, medium, and dark version on the back and some more information. And so we've been using these this year to make our easiest quilt ever. You can see several of my 4 patches behind me. These 2 were from last week. And so this is the block that turned out, and I love it. Oh my gosh, I love this block so much. And when I found this kind of a lime colored material, fabric, it actually has a little bit of metallic gold splattered on it. So golden roses, splattered gold. Perfect, right? But look at it with that color right there. What a great combination that was. Now, they call that yellow. This is really what, if you are of a certain age, or maybe kids still do it today. I don't know. I don't have any tiny ones running around right now. A lemon lime slushy. That's what that color is a lemon lime slushy. So that really worked out beautiful. And I loved how that turned out together. Look at that. Isn't that a nice variation of that color card? Oh, I loved it. So those were mine from last week. And I have put up in the community section here on the channel every week after we meet on Wednesdays, I put up a picture of the 2 cards that you guys choose because you guys get to vote. I don't pick these colors, you guys do. And you're doing a great job because we're going to have really beautiful scrappy quilts, because in the end, how you put these 4 patches together is going to be entirely up to you. And there's more to it. There's sashing and all to it. We've talked about that already briefly last week. And so everybody's quilt is going to look different, and everybody's quilt is going to be absolutely beautiful. But this week we chose this. I think I called this like National Monument. Well, let's just call this Monument Valley. That's what I was told this was reminding me of, was Monument Valley. So that's it. So those are the colors for one block. And then the other one, I called this one the Continental Divide because it really reminded me of the drive that you take when you cross over the Continental Divide in the US. Beautiful to look out and see everything, really gorgeous. And these are the colors. Now, this color set to me is going to be really interesting because these are kind of dark. So this is black. And again, my tip is don't use a whole square that's black unless you want to. I mean, it is your quilt. You can do what you like, but use that black more as an accent in some of your fabrics, and I think you'll end up liking it better. And this one right next to it that also looks pretty doggone dark is a true United States Navy blue, because United States Navy blue is really closer to black than it is to blue, but this is just the darkest navy blue you can get. And then it was slate gray and blue gray, and then this one here is called a salmon. It's a very light salmon. Like a coho. Yeah, I know my salmon's from living out in the Northwest. Okay, so those are our cards for this week. The picture is always in that community area on the channel so that you can look and see. If you've got your own color cubes, these come from color cube number 1, number 52, and 247 were the ones that you all picked for this week. So I can't wait to see the blocks that you all are making. In fact, nobody sent me pictures this week. I was very sad, because I love getting the pictures from you guys so that I can show them, because you all really inspire me. And so I know you're inspiring one another. Once again, if you're just joining us, please go ahead and type in your name and introduce yourself over in the comments. I'd love to say hello. And so would everybody else. We're a really friendly bunch here at Build a Quilt. Okay, so that was the blocks for the easiest quilt along ever. We're doing that on our Wednesday workshop live. So if you want to check out, you can go back several weeks now, about 7 weeks now. And you'll see the beginning where we started it and all, because you do need your Build a Quilt combo set, basic combo set to get the design file for this quilt. And you get, in that combo set, you get 6 of the most often used quilting segments: the fat quarter, I've got fat quarters on the brain, the half square triangle, the quarter square triangle, the flying geese unit, the diamond in a square unit that we're going to talk about. All of those things come in that set, and they come in multiple sizes. So check that out over at our website, mybuildaquilt.com, and I'll put that back up later towards the end. Now, we also have something here called Quilt Lab. Quilt Lab, last year we did blocks, and at the end of the year we turned them into a beautiful quilt. So this year, Quilt Lab is all about the mini quilt, quilts that are no bigger than 24 by 24 inches. Anything really big, much bigger than that, you're starting to get outside, in my opinion, of a mini quilt idea. And kind of, if you ask, like I was last year when I was at the Quilt Museum in Paducah, because we go down there for family reunion every summer with my mom's family, and get to see the cousins and all the new babies. It's always a lot of fun. And I always go, of course, and spend like almost a whole day at the Quilt Museum. I mean, why not, right? Some of the art quilts there are just unimaginably beautiful. And then I always do a little video and share it with you guys when I come back so that you can kind of see all of that too, because I know not everyone gets a chance to go to the museum. I just happen to live fairly close. I mean, I'm in northeast central Illinois, and Paducah. I was actually almost born in Paducah. I was born across the river in Illinois, but my mother went into labor while she and my grandmother were grocery shopping in Paducah. So I was almost a Kentucky girl there. I love going there. So I called and talked to them. I call and talk to them occasionally and ask them what were their thoughts on mini quilt sizes. And they said nothing bigger than 24 by 24 sounded reasonable to them as well. So this month we are doing a little mini quilt. It's vertical. It's very truly meant to be hung on a wall rather than laid on a table. And it's called Bloom. And it's this beautiful tulip. And I love how it turned out. If you are a Quilt Lab member, you get this pattern as a free download every month, whatever that quilt is. And then there's lots of other things too. You heard me mention the members only area. There's more free patterns there, more videos go in there, that kind of stuff. It's all for you to use throughout the year of your subscription. If you don't want to go that route and you just want to pick out the different quilts that you want to make, those patterns, just this pattern itself is available on the website as well. If you are a Quilt Lab member, though, you also get a finished quilting design to quilt yours as well. So that's another benefit. In fact, you save a lot and get a lot more with the subscription, but I understand you might just want to try some out first. And so this is for the month of March, the Bloom. And I thought I would show you. I showed this Wednesday night, but I did not show it in the recap. These are my hydroponically grown. I've grown these hydroponically. Isn't that pretty? Tulips. There's two of them now. They were just starting to really bloom out. They have just sprung all over the place now. They're pretty much getting ready. They're at the end. The blooms are at the end of their life cycle, but I will harvest those bulbs and all, and I'm going to try and plant these outside next year. But I thought you would like seeing some pretty blooms. I'm so ready for it. Is officially actually spring now, so happy spring, everybody. But I garden a lot of vegetables and stuff like that, and some kind of basic flowers. I'm not like a big flower farm gardener, but I have a friend who is, and she grows some of the most beautiful flowers ever here locally. But I do like, since I lived in the Northwest for such a long time, I love tulips. I used to love going to the Skagit Valley for the Tulip Festival every year. And so I thought I'd do these hydroponically. This was a test this year, and they actually turned out pretty doggone good. Now, you guys know that I lost my smell and taste when I had a minor case of COVID back last July. Still don't have it back. The doctor swears I won't get it back. My husband says, it'll come back someday. Dave is so optimistic. And I'm like, yes, sweetheart, I will get my smell back. Sure. I wish I would, because I have a really bad food allergy to onions and garlic, like go to the hospital type thing. So I have to literally like have him check my food and smell it for me when we eat out. It's ridiculous. But he told me that those flowers, those tulips, have a beautiful scent to them, and they're each different. The scent is different on each of them. So I'm glad that's the case. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and talk about, before we do the fabric haul, let's talk about the diamond in a square. So this is your standard. This is a 5-inch finished diamond in a square block. This type of block is wonderful in a quilt because it allows you to really guide your color. It allows you to create forms, because you can put whatever you want here in the center, but these 4 little corners can be, each one of them can be a different color if they need to be. They can all be the same color. They can be different colors here and here, from here and here. I mean, you can really do whatever you want depending on what you want to do with the color and the design of your quilt. But the other thing that these are really perfect for are fussy cutting. Framing and bringing attention to something very specific in a fabric that you love. And a couple of weeks ago, we talked about it's okay to be fussy. And we have a video here on the channel that's all about fussy cutting. It just came out last week, I believe. And so you can check that out here on the channel as well. And it tells you all about fussy cutting. This pattern in either 3 or 4 sizes is available in that combo, basics combo set I told you about. And it's the perfect piece for fussy cutting. And we talked about this in conjunction with our easiest quilt along ever. And you can check out last week's Wednesday workshop and see how we talked about that. But since we did that last week, I've gotten several emails about how this gets made. And so I know some people, I mean, you get all the instructions in the video with your basic combo set, but some folks don't have the combo set yet and they're getting ready to purchase it, and they kind of wanted to see, they had some questions about it. So I have a little, it's about 12 minutes to be honest, and we might not run through the whole thing, and I might fast forward through a little bit of it for you, because it shows you, and I talk about in it, how to make it and how to use it a little bit more. So let's bring up our video. Okay, and here is our last demonstration for our last piece, our last segment piece, which is our diamond in a square. It is by far the one with the most steps. There are 12 steps, but again, they're all very simple. Okay, I'm going to stop there for just a second. It says 12 steps. So basically it's your first step gets put on your, they're fast steps, like stitching out your design, your placement design for this square on point. Each one of these little corners get designed. So each one goes really quick. I think it takes probably less than 2 minutes to make one of these. So let's easy. I've prepped my fabric. So I was told to cut 2 squares and then subcut those squares into triangles. I've done that. And I've cut my center square. Now, the one nice thing about the diamond in a square is if I want to create different patterns, I can do 3 in one color and a 4th in another color. And that can start joining things together and modifying things. There's so much that you can do with this. This is also a really nice block if you're doing a friendship quilt and you want to do a light fabric as the center diamond and then put your name and a date or anything like that in the center. Now, as I said, this has 12. Now, I'll stop it again real quickly in regard to that idea of putting a name and a date. If you're doing Build-A-Quilt, you've got an embroidery machine. So in that respect, you can do the name and the date or whatever you want to say in the center right on your embroidery machine, and then go back to finishing the block. So you can kind of do that all in one session and end up with a beautiful friendship square that if you're part of a quilting guild or something and you're making that friendship blanket, or if you are making a family tree quilt and all your blocks are going to be like this with everybody's names and birth dates or anniversaries, then this would be the block for you as well. Let's go ahead and move 12 steps to it. There are 3 full pages of step-by-step instructions, and we're going to walk through them right now. And the very first step says stitch out machine step 1 directly on your stabilizer, just like we did with our other 2. And we're going to do that also with step 2 in this one. Okay, so when I say in there, just like we did with our other 2, remember this video is part of the overall how-to video in the basic combo set. So I'm referring to the other segments there. So just kind of that's where that's coming from. We're going to stitch it out on the stabilizer as well, because it gives us a placement for our diamond fabric, which is our larger square piece here. Okay, there's step 1, nice and finished, so we know how big our block is going to be. Now we're going to do a step 2 stitch out directly on the stabilizer. And if you're wondering, I am demonstrating the 5-inch size today in all 3 of our segments. However, this is the exact same pattern and you follow the exact same steps, whether you're doing the 3-inch, the 4-inch, or the 5-inch. If you have questions, please ask them in the comments and I can type in answers so that you can see those.
Okay. I have a little bit of a concern with my thread here. I'm going to rethread. For some reason it's giving me a little bit of a snag.
That was my problem. I had caused that.
We'll rethread there, and I'm just going to take a quick look. Whenever I rethread the top for something like that, I like to look also at my bobbin thread, and I had just changed my bobbin thread between segments, and so it could be that I had not placed my bobbin in properly. So let's just redo that really quickly just to make sure everything is right. Alrighty, so here is step 1 and step 2, and step 3 says place a fabric I apologize. This is also part of step 2. Place a fabric. No, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong instructions. I apologize again. This is step 3 we're on. Place a fabric A square over space 1. That's this space. And stitch machine step 3 and trim the excess on all 4 sides, remembering to leave enough fabric beyond the boundary lines at the top and the bottom and the sides. So we'll do that.
Okay, so when I tell you to leave enough fabric, in your cutting instructions, you're given a cut size that will give you enough fabric to have plenty beyond the border so that when you cut it out of the stabilizer, you'll end up having a perfect little 1/4 inch and all of that. And this is one of the very first like how-to videos I did for this. It looks like I should go back and redo them now.
I'm going to put a little bit of my glue stick in my center. And I'm going to place, now you can place your fabric if you like on the diamond point like that, or you can place it like that. I think you get a better amount for cutting excess when you place it on the point, just like that. We'll slide this back in and we'll now do step 3. There, that looks better. And now we're going to trim this on all 4 sides, but remembering to leave fabric outside the outer boundary at the points.
When you cut, folks, when you're cutting away, when you have sections of your segment that need to be trimmed away, eyeball it. Please don't take all the time in the world to sit there with a little measuring tape and try to measure out a 1/4 inch. Eyeball it. The more you do that, the more accurate you will actually become. When I was learning how to quilt over 55 years ago by hand, my grandmother never let me measure anything. She showed me where my 1/4 inch would be at the start, and the more I did it, the more I was accurate each and every time. And if you don't have exactly a 1/4 inch when you cut, that's fine. As long as you have a little bit beyond that seam line, you're going to be fine, because in the end, all of that seaming is going to be built in and you'll be fine with it. Just don't cut it right on the line or next to the line.
So let's go ahead and bring down our camera. And I'm going to start out here. And I'm going to trim this edge. And once I get beyond the boundary, I kind of see how it kind of curved off. That's going to make sure I have more than plenty of fabric beyond my point here. And I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to start way out here and then kind of come into my 1/4 inch. So I'm kind of doing this almost like a half moon when I cut this out, just because I want to make sure that I'm leaving myself plenty of fabric, because you can see when you cut your second side, you get it gets a little small there. It's going to be plenty with the other fabric over it, but I want to make sure that I'm leaving plenty there. So I start out here and I kind of cut it like a half moon shape a little bit.
I'm a lefty, so if it looks backwards to you, that's why.
And you can see that here. It starts out here, comes down, and comes back out of it. Now I have one more side to cut. And I'm going to do it the exact same way. Okay. So that leaves me with plenty of fabric. Even though it's a little bit, it's going to get covered with this fabric, and that's going to leave me plenty for trimming. Now, the next step goes on to page 2 and says, step 4, place a B fabric number 2 triangle right side.
Okay, it won't let me fast forward, apparently. I thought it would. Hang on. I bet I can do it this way. Nope. Okay, it won't let me fast forward, but I need to redo this because I'm not seeing all of this on here. It might be because I'm showing it to you through the computer, through this filming setup. But I'm going to stop it now and let you go and see it on the website. I will link it at the end of this. So let's go ahead and take this down. Sorry about that. I should have checked that out more, but for some reason I'm not seeing a lot of it on there. And I think it's this setup is what's doing that, but it's easy. Let me just give you a little bit of information if you're brand new. First pieces of fabric always get laid right side up or pretty side up. All other pieces of fabric gets laid right sides together or right side down, and then you flip them and then they stitch down. Okay, that way when you lay it this way and you flip it, all the pretty fabric is on top. So I'll link this video at the end, and I think you'll see it better because I think I have a better version of it. So I will do that for us and we can move on. I don't want to keep going and interrupting and all that, but now's the fun stuff, guys. So you know that Joann's is going out of business, and I have no beef with Joann's and no beef with their fabric. So I've used Joann's fabric probably as much as I use designer fabric from a fabric shop my whole life. Like Joann's was the store my mother took me to when it was only a fabric store. It sold sewing machines, patterns, garment patterns, thread, notions, and that was it. And so it wasn't the big craft and all conglomerate that it is today. But I have gone and purchased some fabrics because once they leave my area, I have to go 2 hours west or 2 hours north to get to a fabric store. And so I end up doing a lot of stuff online, but I really love being able to see and touch the fabric. So in the video that I just did on cutting your own fat quarters, this was the fabric I used. Isn't it gorgeous? I love it. The daisies are just so pretty. And I love that lime color with the little white polka dot. I think that's going to be gorgeous in a block this summer. Now you can tell I like daisies because here comes another one. I found this one with the daisies on it. And oh, I just think this is glorious. I love this blue in here is kind of a cornflower blue, and I love it. I think it's so pretty. And so when I bought some of these, they had 1 yard minimums. Now they have 2 yard minimums. It might even go up to 3 next week. I don't know how they're doing it, but so I have 2 yards of this. And then I was looking for a yellow to go with it. And I found this, and it's got little bitty flowers and leaves on it. So look at those two together. Won't that make a beautiful summer quilt? And I think I have 2 or 3 yards of each of these actually. And this is definitely going to be a quilt. I love colors like that for summer quilts. And so that's definitely going to be a summer quilt. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Do you like those two together? I think they're really pretty. The yellows are so super close to being the same yellow that I kind of would have bought the whole bolt, but I'm not sure I would have used everything that was on both of those bolts. And then, you know, in the Wednesday recap, we talked about Joann's Kona cottons, and the myth that they are inferior to Kona cotton that you get at the fabric shop. And I say myth because I checked it out through Robert Kaufman. I called them and talked to a nice lady, and she said, no, they never do any inferior or lesser grade fabrics. It is all the highest quality cotton, and it is the same. What they send to the fabric shop and what they send to Joann's is same. It might be labeled differently because that is when they do labeling. Part of it is bookkeeping stuff that they need to know and that the retailer needs to know. And so the way Joann does their retailing paperwork stuff is different than the way they do it in your fabric shops, in your individual small fabric shops. So I've gone and like, where is it? You guys know I love this candlelit. They call it snow. You know, I love this color. This is what I use for white. It's not that bright white. It's a really soft candlelit color. So I bought every last bolt they had of it because that's the only white I use when I use white. And I did pick up some other ones too. And I use this color a lot because I love Tula pink fabric. So this goes really well with a lot of the Tula fabrics. And so I picked, I think I got 3 yards of this. It kind of depended on what they had. If the bolt was 2 yards or less, I just bought what was on the bolt. Now, you know that little green daisy I just showed you? They also had it with this red. Does that not say summer too? Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I saw this one first and kind of swooned a little bit. I loved it so much. And then right next to it was this navy with a cross stitch. Look at those together. Don't those make a beautiful summer quilt? Oh, I love those. So some of these you're going to be seeing in some of our mini quilts and some of my mini quilt samples because I just think they're gorgeous. And then Easter's actually late this year. Easter's usually closer to my birthday, which is the earlier part of April, but it's like the 20th or something this year. And, but they had this, I love soft little gingham fabrics, and they had this soft little gingham pink with these jelly beans on it. And I thought, surely I can do something for spring and Easter holiday, maybe a table runner or something for the dining table or in the kitchen. I thought that was really cute. Super sweet. I don't do a lot of novelty prints like this, but this one just caught my eye because of the gingham. I love it. What do you guys think? And then all those little dots at the intersection actually have like metallic, it actually looks like glitter on it. So it was really pretty. And I don't think I paid more than $5 or $6 for any of these per yard because they had already lowered their prices quite a bit. And then this little polka dot, this fabric really reminds me, it's really like, if you're old enough, you'll remember the very first soft chewing gum. So there was Bazooka when I was a kid, which would break your molars. It was so hard. And then by the time I was in high school, which was in the 70s, early 70s, there came out the first soft bubble gum called Hubba Bubba. And then Bubble Yum came out after that. But Hubba Bubba was the first. And it was this color. That's Hubba Bubba pink if I've ever seen it. And I love the little polka dots. But what I love about it, if you know what a basic gray Moda Grunge fabric looks like, it looks like it's been stonewashed a little bit. You know how our jeans get that stonewashed look? This is kind of what this looks like too. It's not that, but it's kind of what it looks like. So I thought it was really intriguing. This is one of those fabrics from a distance that I think would take the place of a solid really quite nicely. And so I know I'll be using that in something. And it looks like I have a couple yards of it. So I will be using it in something. And then I just found this. I got just a yard of this, but I thought it was pretty. This soft little flowers. Again, you know I love these tiny prints because I can use them in place of solids. I'm not wild about doing all solids. I like to replace some solids in a quilt with tiny prints or tiny prints that read as solid. Like I would say that's the case here. That could replace a solid 1-for-1. This really is more of a tiny print, but it could certainly be in the place of a solid if you wanted it to be. Okay. And then this is another novelty print that I just happen to like. Roses and hearts. Have no idea what I'm going to do with this one. Literally no idea. If you have an idea that you would like to see with this fabric, let me know, because I don't know. I suppose something around next Valentine's Day or something, or I don't know. I just have no clue, but it really caught my eye. So I got like a yard of it. I see, I'm bad that way. That's how your stash, folks, gets out of hand. Does anybody know that feeling? Please let me know in the comments. Do you just see something go, I love it so much, don't know what I'm going to make of it, but I'm going to do it? Yeah, me too. And then I found this one. And boy, do I love this one, because I love small polka dots. I love this soft color, this kind of a washed out color. And I thought it also looked really good with this blue cross stitch as well. I just thought this was gorgeous. I get a couple yards of this one. Definitely will be using that for a lot of different things. And then this one I got, one, because you know how much I love the aqua color. So that drew it to me. Red is my next favorite color. Those two are like tied. But the reason I got this is because this year, since we've been using the color cube cards, it's really made me think about prints and how they might work in different ways with different colors. So when I saw this, I saw colors in here that I would not think of using that green with this fabric, but it works. And I thought, you know what? That's what the color cube scenario can help us do, to think outside the box, things that we wouldn't normally think about. So I got that one. We're almost done. This one is just a kind of a raspberry small dot. And this one I got because it is another one that will go well with, like, mixed with tulip pinks and things like that. I got another small yellow dot. It's the same. No, it's different. This one is a smaller dot. But that yellow, I love it. This doesn't look so bright on the screen. This is a really kind of a bright, sunshiny yellow. And then this pink, this is another one that I would exchange one for one with a solid. I sure would. And I love that. I love all that little scroll work on there. I think it's super pretty. And that's kind of a medium pink, I guess I would say. Kind of almost a salmon pink for sure. And then this one, this is not a blue I typically use, but I loved it. And I know we've been getting it in those color cards sometimes. And that's this one. It's not really cornflower blue. I love cornflower blue, but it's not that. And it has some really deep blue and some white in it too. And again, that scroll work, I thought this is another one I would exchange directly one for one with a solid. So if I had a solid in my pattern that needed to be basically this color, instead of using a solid, I would use this fabric instead. Why do I like these fabrics, other than the fact that I am not someone who typically uses a lot of solids in a quilt, is because fabrics like this give your fabric, Sue, our good friend Sue knows, she's heard me say it, it gives your quilt texture. It gives your quilt some movement. It makes your quilt come alive a little bit more than a solid will. A solid is a really focused, drenched color. Even a light solid is just that lightness is saturated, and that's all you get from it. You don't get movement from it. You don't get anything extra from it, but you will with a fabric like this. So don't be afraid to exchange one for one your solids with fabrics like this. I think you'll end up liking it. Give it a try on a couple of projects, and I think you'll like it. Now, if you are someone who's like I am, and I have friends like this, they're all solids all the time. That's perfectly fine. Remember what we say here. As a quilter, you're the artist. You decide what you want to do with your fabrics and what you want to replace or use or not use. And my friends who are solids only make some of the most beautiful quilts in the world. For me to make a quilt all solid would bore me to tears. I need to see that pattern and all of that. But that's how I work. That's an individual thing. So that was my haul, other than I did get a whole bunch of other of the Kona solids. I got those as well. So now before we end today, it's been great to be with you all today. We've had a good group. Is our question of the week. So the question of the week is some just silly random question that I ask. You answer in the comments, and then after we've given you a minute or so to answer, then I spin the thing on my computer and I don't look because it gives me vertigo. And the winner will either get our Build a Quilt monthly pattern for this month, the Bloom Mini Quilt, or if you're a Quilt Lab subscriber, you'll get a $10 gift certificate to the website for a product of your choice. And if you get that, it is good towards the Build a Quilt Basic Combo Set, but not the Quilt Lab subscription because you're already a subscriber. That's why you would get the gift certificate instead of the pattern. So this is the prize for any non-Quilt Lab subscribers, which is this month's Quilt Lab Mini Quilt, the Bloom Quilt. Very easy. There's a full how-to video with this and full instructions. You get our coloring sheet so that you can color and try out different colors before you cut fabric to make sure that what you think you want to put in that quilt is really going to look the way you think it's going to. And so let me ask the question. This is not the same question as Wednesday night. I try to switch them up when we have a Friday show too. So I showed you my tulips earlier, right? And so I said, I am not a flower farmer type gardener. I don't raise flowers for like markets and florists and stuff like that. I'm a veggie gardener, right? And some people say they're a homesteader. That has its own connotation of you do more than just growing a vegetable patch in your yard. Sometimes it includes like raising your own chickens, things like that. Doing different types. Like I do grow all organically. My seeds are organic. My potting soil, all of that I make myself because we do live on land that was part of the original Homestead Act here in the United States, where it happened right after the Civil War, the Homestead Act, and the federal government would give you 160 acres of land if you had never fought against the United States. That has its own connotation. We won't go into that. That's what it was. And if you hadn't, and you kept the land improved for 4 years, and if you want to know more what that's like, if you're a Laura Ingalls Wilder fan, read the book The First 4 Years, because she and her husband Almanzo were homesteaders under the Homestead Act. And so she talks in that book about all the problems they had and why they ended up, I think, losing their tract of land. But if you could keep it improved for 4 years, the land was yours free and clear. And so the land that we live on 30 years ago was created into a small rural community. And so our address literally is Old Farm, because we live on this old farm property. And so some people call me the old farm gardener, stuff like that, right? So I was thinking about this, and I was trying to think of a question today, and I don't know how I would define this, but here's our question. What is a fabric gardener? Give me your thoughts in the comments. There's no right, there's no wrong. If somebody said, hey, Sue, sorry, not picking on you today at all. Sue, you're a fabric gardener. What does that mean? What does it mean to be a fabric gardener? So we know what it means, like to be a vegetable gardener, or farmer, flowers, or both, or if a farmer who raises milk cows, dairy cows, or a farmer who raises chickens, things like that. We understand those definitions, but what would it mean to be a fabric gardener? Let me know in the comments, and then we'll spin the wheel for a winner. Okay, I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. I'm fascinated to see what you guys would come up with, because I really don't know how I would define a fabric gardener. Like maybe Someone who goes and buys fabric just because it's beautiful is a fabric gardener. I'd be that kind of fabric gardener. Is a quilter a fabric gardener? We care for fabrics. We turn them into beautiful quilts. Like we grow the quilts and send them out. Am I going too far over the gardening wall on this one, guys? I thought it was a funny little thinking question to kind of think about how we would do that. So what are your thoughts? Allison likes the idea that it's someone who cares for fabric and is a quilter. I like that. Ohio Mom says, I think that a fabric gardener would be one who creates projects with fabric. I think all of us are fabric gardeners. I like that. I think so too. I think quilters truly are fabric gardeners, right? We get fabric and we grow it into beautiful quilts. Sue says she thinks a quilter too. Anne Marie says she likes the idea of quilters being fabric gardeners. So if anyone ever asks you, you can just say, yeah, I'm a fabric gardener, and see what they say. See if they ask or if they just look at you sideways. Anybody else want to throw an answer in there? If you're not seeing all the things where you are, I'm getting 2 sets of comments here because we go live in a couple of areas. So I'm getting 2 sets of comments. Oh, Connie says a fabric gardener is someone who works at a fabric store and cares for the fabric at a fabric store. I like that idea. That could be a fabric gardener. I like that idea. Good one, Connie, for sure. I like that. So if they're the fabric gardener, yeah, I like that. I think that could be and quilters could be fabric gardeners. I think fabric gardeners could be anybody who loves fabric, really. Now, would a garment sewer be a fabric gardener? I think so. They care for fabric just like we quilters do, but they're making beautiful garments. Or a costume designer could be a fabric gardener. So maybe anyone who loves fabric is a fabric gardener for sure. All righty, so we're gonna, I think any more, because we're almost out of time. I'm gonna go ahead and spin the wheel here. I've got to do it. Hang on, I've got to turn my head because I have to do it on 2 sides so I can get a winner. Our winner is Ohio Mom. Ohio Mom, you have won today's question of the week. Now, all you need to do to get your prize is to send me an email at support@sewincommon.com that just says Quilt and Coffee Chat winner, question of the week winner, whatever it is. Let me know in it because I can't remember everybody who is a Quilt Lab subscriber, but I think you're kind of new with us. I don't think you are. So if you are not, you will get the pattern set for the Bloom quilt. If you are, I'll send you that $10 gift certificate. Let's see, I've got some comments coming in. Connie says, congratulations. Sue says, congratulations. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I love playing this game and just us kind of thinking about those things. So just send me that email sometime today or tomorrow, and I will get it to you. As long as I get it tomorrow, I am gone most of the day tomorrow, but as soon as I get it, I'll try and send that out to you. If I don't get it to you tomorrow, it's because we were gone when I got your email, and I'll send it to you Sunday. But if you send it to me today, you'll get it in the morning because when I leave here, I have to go teach another class. Yay! I love that, right? So congratulations to Ohio Mom. Whoops, let's take that down. Click the wrong banner. There we go. All right, everybody. It has been so great to be with you today for Quilt and Coffee Chat Live. I will go back and link that video in the description so that you can watch it fully. I think it was just a little long for me to play here too. And it wasn't, for some reason on my side, it wasn't showing up. And I didn't want you guys to be seeing half of my arm most of the time. So anyway, if you are new with us today, thank you so much for joining us for the first time. If you liked our conversation today. Check out some of our other videos where we actually demonstrate and talk more and show more about what we're doing quilting wise, because today this event is really a casual event. But please subscribe, like, and share our videos. That's how this group has grown so large, and I never thought I'd be able to appreciate over 672,000 people, but I appreciate each and every one of you. And believe me, when you all subscribe, I do see that and appreciate that and know that. And I love having that many. You guys, do you realize that when you subscribe, you have over 672,000 new quilting friends now all over the world? In England, in Ireland, in Canada, our dear friends in Canada, New Zealand, India, Germany, France, Spain, the Netherlands. I mean, we have subscribers all over the place, and that's so great. I love it. It really makes a very big world seem very homey and cozy to me. And that's what I think quilters do. They make everyone feel homey and cozy. All right, everybody. Again, thank you so much. Again, here's our website, www.mybuildaquilt.com. You can find our patterns there. You can subscribe, which is basically signing up to get the email for our blog, things like that. So until next time, everybody, that's the first time I have won something in years. Oh, I'm so glad. You too, Sue. Have a great weekend. I'm so glad that you won then. That's always fun. Until next time, everybody, go grab some fabric and a pattern and quilt life beautiful. We'll see you next Wednesday for sure. Check out the new Fat Quarter cut video and the new Fat Quarter bundle video that I put out yesterday. It's got some good information for you. See you later, everyone.